Good Friday isn't really good, is it? It's gory and messy, it's sad and hard going, and yet it's through this day that light and life, hope and joy come. Tonight, brace yourself for pain and blame, and for the uglier side of human nature to raise its head. But stick with the story, because it's a story with love at its heart and core, and love as its ultimate goal. But let's begin this Good Friday by taking a step back to last night, to a late night garden where Jesus' friends slept as he prayed. 3 times Jesus took himself apart from his friends. 3 times he asked them to watch and pray as he struggled before God with what he realised awaited him. And 3 times Jesus' friends fell asleep, oblivious to his anguish. Father, save me from this hour, yet not my will, but yours be done. Sweat fell as tears as Jesus prayed, and his friends snored. Get up, Jesus said at last. Get up, the hour has come.
While Jesus was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus replied, "Do what you came for, friend." Then the men stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance, right up to the courtyard of the high priest. He entered and sat down with the guards to see the outcome.
Jesus' friends had vanished. Only Peter found the courage to follow, and that was from a very safe distance. Eager though for any news, Peter warmed his hands by an open fire to listen in to what the soldiers and the guards were saying. But then a young girl serving them recognised Peter, and looking at him, she said, "You were with him, weren't you? You were with the Nazarene." Peter denied it. "No, not me. You must be mistaken." But the woman didn't stop. "You were. I remember you. You were with him." But Peter denied it absolutely. Peter denied ever having known Jesus. And then those who were standing with him at the fire, they threw in their tuppence worth. "Surely you were with him. You even have the same accent as he does." And Peter let rip. He went ballistic. He swore he had never known Jesus. Never, ever, ever. And just then, a cock crowed. And Peter remembered that when he had said he would never leave Jesus, Jesus had told him that before the cock crowed, he would deny his Lord 3 times. Peter, big, brave Peter, burst into tears.
Very early in the morning, the chief priests with the elders, the teachers of the law, and the whole Sanhedrin made their plans. So they bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. "Are you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate. "You have said so," Jesus replied. The chief priests accused him of many things. So again, Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer? See how many things they are accusing you of." But Jesus still made no reply, and Pilate was amazed. Now it was the custom at the festival to release a prisoner whom the people had requested. A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionists who had committed murder in the uprising. The crowd came up and asked Pilate to do for them what he usually did. "Do you want me to release to you the King of the Jews?" asked Pilate, knowing it was out of self-interest that the chief priests had handed Jesus over to him. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barabbas instead. "What shall I do then with the one you call the King of the Jews?" Pilate asked them. "Crucify him," they shouted. "Why? What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him!" Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified.
The soldiers mocked Jesus. They dressed him in a purple robe. They made him wear a crown of thorns, and then they played dice for his clothes. Jesus and the other two with him had to carry their crosses to a hill outside the city wall. Jesus' wounds from his flogging saw him stagger, so a passer-by was press-ganged into carrying Jesus' cross for him. Once at the place of execution, the men were nailed hand and foot to the wood, and the cross hoisted high. This was all done by 9 a.m. The hope was that everything would be over before the start of the Sabbath at sunset on this Friday. There were calls for Jesus to save himself if he really was the Son of God. Even the criminals being crucified with Jesus joined in, or at least one did. The other rebuked his friend and said that while they deserved this end, Jesus did not. And then came a heartfelt plea from the one criminal to Jesus. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Dying brings what matters into sharp focus. Jesus, remember me. Quiet, dignified, trust. It was thought that wine and vinegar acted as an anaesthetic, so someone raised a sponge full of it on a stick and put it to Jesus' lips, but he refused to drink. At 3 p.m, the skies suddenly darkened, and there was a cry that silenced every onlooker around. "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," Jesus cried. My God, why have you forsaken me?" And then a little while later, another cry, and Jesus breathed his last. A centurion on guard was heard to say, Surely, he was the Son of God." While Jesus' closest followers had disappeared, the women remained. They remained to tend to Jesus' body, to prepare him for burial. Mary and Mary Magdalene and Salome. And then Joseph of Arimathea had a word with Pilate, who agreed that Joseph could take Jesus' body, which he did, and he wrapped it in clean linen cloth before placing Jesus in Joseph's own tomb, and rolling a stone across its entrance to seal it forever. All hope gone. Nothing left. Nothing except deathly silence.